Yes, I, Black again, Jah Rastafari. This is Lord Sage, Sage of the Seven Paths. I am here. 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 So give thanks to the coming in. So we're going straight into it. So as you could see, our ancestors were well aware of the human and animal engineering. Science. As you could see, they depicted the ancient ones with animal head, with human body. So we could see the blending of the two. And some people say this is just a mask. Well, if it's just a mask, how comes we never see Horus depicted with any other mask? It's always the hawk that represents him. We have the god Thoth, and we see the type of bird head that represents him. And there are many other figures that represent by other animal heads. So whatever the case may be, even though we think this is a mask, but we could clearly see that the blending of animal and human together. Whatever you think this means, right? Whatever anyone think this means, we could clearly see that they were well aware of blending the animal figure with the human figure. And this goes back to the science of human and animal engineering, when you blend the two genetics together to create something new and different. Now I just want to interject, right? I just want to interject because as you could see, these two figures right here, they're actually pouring out something from the vial, and when we look we could see it's ants. So this figure right here is pouring out ants from his vial that goes in this direction, and this figure is pouring out some ants from his vial that goes in that direction, and it creates something like a covering for this figure right here. But somehow this figure has been hacked out. As you could see, it has been hacked out, and they are these same beings a little higher, Horus and God Thoth. They are holding hands with the same being that has been hacked out, right? For some reason they hacked out this being here, and they hacked him out here also, and they kept these two beings untampered. They were not touched. So whatever the case may be, right? That's not what we're highlighting, but I just wanted to push it in there. So we know the ants represent life. It represents many things. But one of the things that it represents, it is life, right? Primary life. So they are pouring life onto this brain that has been hacked out. So my senses tell me that they are giving life. It's a creation process somewhere in some form. You understand? So they're up here with him, they are holding hands, and they're in this scene right here. This scene right here. In this scene, they're actually pouring ants over this being right here. So since I know the ants represent life, so I would suggest is some type of creation being taking place, or some type of blessing, I should say. So, I just wanted to highlight that. It's kind of hard not to realize what's taking place, in a sense, even though we don't have the full picture. So give thanks. We continue, right? This is the science. So that's why I'm relating this to the creation of mankind. This is the science the black Africans developed, where they could splice the genetics with animal genetics and create hominids. That's how the hominids were created. Hominids like Lucy, you understand? And many others. We see the Europeans give them names like Homo this and Homo that, and a bunch of homos. But anyway, hominids exist, and hominids, they exist today. The hominids is what you call a Bigfoot, or Yeren, or Sasquatch. These are ancient creatures that was created long ago. and they have a particular type of science and intelligence that goes along with them. But not getting deep into that, but just trying to, relate the story of the animal and human engineering, and we could see it all over the hieroglyphics, all over the walls of Kemet. You could see the animals are highly revered, right? The animals are depicted, and we give honor and we represent the animals alongside us. Because as you could see, nature represents nature. So man, animals, the trees, everything in life represents nature on different levels. You understand? So yes. So it's very, very clear. We can't play around that. There's no joke thing going on there, right? We can't play around with them things anymore. You understand? We ain't need nobody to come and show us what we're seeing. Right? You ain't need nobody to come and show you what you're seeing. I don't need nobody to come and explain this to me. You understand what this means? I could clearly see what I'm seeing. You understand? Not to say that there is not a deeper meaning to all this. There is a meaning to all this, but the meaning to all this, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what we could clearly see with our eyes when we look at all the depictions, right? What we could immediately see with our eyes and make out for ourselves. So even though you don't know what this means, but you could make out something for yourself, right? Without anybody telling you anything, right? So without anybody telling us anything, we could clearly see the mixing of human and animals. So it's an ancient science. So the ancient Africans totally developed the science of mixing genetics together when it comes to man and animal genetics to create harmonies, and from harmonies you create mankind. It's the same process the Europeans give you when they're going to give you the story of creation of mankind. They tell you the harmonies developed. They told you like nobody was doing the creation of the harmonies. They tell you it was evolution taking place, and from the harmonies they develop into mankind and human beings. So the Europeans with the evolution theory they give you, they tell you the same story because they're following the same pattern. All they did was they just give you a different name. They just put a title on it called evolution and told you nobody was doing the science. But we know Africans came first. Africans dwelt on the planet before anybody. So Africans came before most of the animals that we see in life, in nature. The monkeys and everything. Them same Europeans trying to tell you that monkeys and all these apes came before man. You understand? So therefore following the same pattern. The monkeys and the apes and things came before men. But the men they are talking about is mankind, not man and woman. There's a difference between man and woman, and mankind and human beings. There's a difference between man, mankind and human beings. So when the Europeans giving the story of creation, they're talking apes and monkeys and all these creatures came before mankind, they are right. Because it's them they're talking about. It's not the black African man and woman they are talking about. We are not included in this creation. Actually, we are the ones performing the creation, the black man and woman. So don't follow Europeans in their traditions when it comes to their creation, which is the creation of mankind. It has nothing to do with the black Africans. We're the one conducting the science. So they told us no one is doing the creation. They told us no one is doing the creation. So they blank us out. They put us out like they always have been doing. They always have been putting us out of history and infusing themselves and creating false artifacts to infuse themselves in history to show that they're the ones that was in history. But no, as we could see on the walls, is the black Africans. These figures are depicted in the color of Africans. You understand? And the great civilization is in the geographical location where Africans are the origin of that place. You understand? And Africans dwelt on the earth millions of years before any mankind. Before mankind was in existence. You understand? So we're going to move on. So if you don't believe, so some people say this is metaphysical, they're not physical beings. So if our ancient ancestors are going to use these mythical beings or creatures, because they are half man, half ape, not half ape but half bird. So if our ancestors are going to use these mythical entities to describe nature and the forces of the creator and everything, don't you think there will be a man or woman that represent all these forces? Of course I believe that there is a man and woman to represent every aspect of nature. Understand? Because man and woman is the aspect of nature, the total aspect of nature, the full representation of nature, man and woman and children. So of course, they will represent, there is a man to represent all these figures right here. So even though you don't believe there is a literal man with a hawk head, a literal man with a bird head, ibis bird head, right? It still does not take out the fact that the science of blending genetics, different genetics, animal and human genetics together is a reality. It is a reality. You understand? You could create half human, half ape creatures. It's a reality. We have the Bigfoot. You understand? And many other creations that still exist today. And we have remnants of all these sciences in the earth today. We still have giants in the earth today. We still have mummies. We still have horse, have man. We still have the werewolf. We still have the dog man. We still have all these mythical creatures that exist today. And if you don't believe me, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Right? Let's have a look. These are some people in Iraq, the Middle East. And these people now, as you could see, they're still walking on all fours. They're still walking on all fours. This is a genetic that has been passed down for generation to generation. And these people feel more comfortable walking on all four rather than to walk upright and two legs because of their design, the way that they were created. The way the gene was patterned out. This is human animal engineering. This is when you mix animal genetics with human genetics. That's what you get. You understand? So we see these people are still suffering from this genetic reality that took place. Because when you understand the method of creating a human being, you're going to come up with all different types of mythical creatures in the process of creating a human being. In the process of developing to create a human being, we're going to have all this. That's what we're saying. That's what we are saying. That's why we are saying this. These people are walking on all fours because the genetics compel them to walk on all fours. And scientists will tell you, well, this is a genetic defect. It's not a defect. It is perfectly designed. It's the design of the genetics that allows them to walk like this. You understand? This is no defect. This is no defect. Right? The way the gene was patterned out, the genetics were designed, causes them to walk like this. They have to act like animals, walking on all four. Because that's what they were created from. That's what they were created by. Why do you think the European is so upset with the black African? Because he learned that we splice him into existence, we splice the Europeans into life. We mix our genetics with animal genetics to create the harmony, and from this we develop into creating mankind, the Europeans. That's why the Europeans are causing hell on planet Earth. They're killing everything in the path because they are upset of the way that they were created. This is what that's what brings slavery and the Holocaust that black people went through, the black girls went through. So let's go further. You understand? Going further. So as we could see, this Asian woman there, she has horns growing out of her head. This is the genetic that has the animal DNA within it. You understand? That allows this woman to actually grow horn out of her head. She was splat with goat, something, an animal that carries horns. You understand? An animal that carries horns was fused with this woman right here. And you could see she, from generation to generation, she still holds the genetics within her because it has been passed down. And now we have a horn growing out of her head. You understand? This is Mr. Wang. Mr. Wang. As you could see, the article states, a Chinese farmer from Manchuria had a 13-inch horn protruding from the back of his head. You understand? We have to stop playing with this. This is a reality. Human genetics and animal genetics were spliced long ago to create mankind. And we still see the remnants of that running through the bloodline of these types of people, because all mankind have animal DNA within the genetics. The only one who don't have it is the black African, the original black Africans. I have to say original black Africans because there are different levels of Africans also. Because the first Chinese was an African, the first Indian was an African. Because when you look at the development of creating a human being, you're going to create a black African first before you go to a Chinese and an Indian and a Caucasian. They're all going to come out black first. Because black can only produce black until you stomp out the black genetics to bring an albino or Caucasian. That's when you cut out the genetics that's in control of spreading the black melanin all over your skin, right? Right? Everything is interconnected. The pineal gland, the sun, out in space, everything is interconnected. You understand? So yeah, so it's a real thing, it's no joke thing. These people will grow with horns in their head. You understand? Also, these African people also, thousands of them, tribal people, they've been born with ostrich feet. Explain this to me, those who don't believe human and animal genetics could be spliced together to create people half human, half animal, just like we saw on the walls of Kemet, Horus and Thoth. Both of them have bird heads. So if it's not a literal thing, how could this be a real thing? They have bird feet. So how far is bird feet from a bird head? Huh? How far is a bird feet from a bird head? So if they could have bird feet on human bodies, how far is having a bird head on human body? Huh? Answer me this. If these people here in Africa, all tribal people, you know, when they meet together, when they come together and have a little one, that's how they come out. So you can see the genetics is locked within their race. Right? Within the tribe. The genetics is locked within the tribe. No other person has this except them. Because they were spliced with animal genetics specifically. If it just had happened random, it could have happened to anybody because it's happening random. But this is done specifically. It's no genetic effect or defect. You understand? All this is science done specifically. So yes, my question again. If it's so far-fetched to think Horus could have a literal bird head, a literal ibis head, right? Now, I don't believe this is literal, right? I don't believe this is literal. All this is symbolic. That couldn't be possible. You understand? So if Horus could have a hawk head and the god fought, have a bird head, right? And people think this is the craziest thing to think of. You think this is literal, right? So what you live for this? Like what you live for this? This is human beings with ostrich feet. So how far is having a bird head from ostrich feet? If a human being could have ostrich feet in a human body, how far is having a bird head if a human body? It's not far-fetched. You understand? It's not far-fetched. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. Human with bird feet. Human with bird head. Human beings with bird head. You could clearly see it. You know, there's no denying it. There's no denying it. You understand? Human body with bird head, depicted long ago by our ancestors. And what we have today, we have people with horns going out their head. As you could see, human body with horns out of his head. Human body, you could see everything is normal about the upper part of them. But when it comes to the feet, it's ostrich feet. Right? Everything is normal about the way they look right here. This joint look right here. It's all human. But when it comes to the head, it's a bird head. Everything is normal about this being right here. But when it comes to the head, it's a bird head. It's the same thing. So no one could deny it. I'm not just saying crazy stuff out of my head. I'm showing you what I'm saying, what I'm seeing. You understand? Let's go even further. The Africans created the hominids. Now this is a hominid from Russia. It was discovered, and this hominid even have offsprings. You understand? This is a hominid that was found in the old days in Russia. As you could read this article, you just type Zena, you know, DNA evidence suggests captured Russian ape woman might have been subspecies of the modern human. You see, so they tell you everything exactly what I'm saying. This has nothing to do with the black Africans in terms of she being the modern, we coming out from her, from this ape. The Europeans are talking about themselves when they talk about modern human. They are the modern humans. The Africans are ancient. The Africans are ancient. The Europeans are the modern humans. The European is the youngest race on the earth. You understand? DNA evidence suggests captured Russian ape woman might have been subspecies of the modern human. So exactly what I'm telling you. The Africans created the hominids, and from the hominids it created mankind. What we call mankind going into human beings. The modern human. You could read this article here and find out what the story about this. And this is Lucy right here. Because Lucy is a hominid also. The oldest fossil found, you know, hominid species. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Understand? Hominids exist, Bigfoots exist. And this is not the only incident of Bigfoot in Russia. Understand? There are other cases on Bigfoots in Russia. In Russia, you just have to do your research. You won't find that type of thing in mainstream media. You gotta do your research. Now, I also want to show. Apparently, I left it out. Yeah, so what we have here, we have human beings being born with animal tails. Right? Animal tails. human beings with animal tails. It's a genetics passed down from generation to generation. And there we have it. The only race that does not have animal DNA within them is the black Africans. So all other races have animal genetics with them. So sometimes that DNA breaks out, and here you have human beings growing tails. You understand? It's within them. It's within their genetics. It's within their genome. The way that their genome was structured, 2 to 3% animal DNA within them, because these people will reverse in the animal genetics will reverse. What you call reverse engineering, when you reverse the genetics, like you splice the animal and a human being, so it's half-half. So if you want to take out the animal DNA with that human being and bring it to a 3 to 2%, you know, you'll have to do what's necessary to take out the animal DNA. The way to do that is you call it back cross. When you back cross and you breed it with original species, and that thing becomes more original, more human-like. So you wanna make a half ape, half human being more human-like. You will have to cross it or breed it with a more human-like species every time, and just keep on repeating the process till you make that creature more human-like. So that's how you bring it down to 2 to 3% animal genetics within someone. You understand? So that's why those people are protruding tails, although they are human beings. It's a 2 to 3% that is coming out. You understand? Human beings with animal tails. So yes. So let's continue. You understand? You have to do your research. When we go to the Olmec heads now, we can see all these Olmec heads. Yes, they have African features, but we can also see other races within these Olmec heads. As you can see, this one looks somewhat like a Mexican. It has some little Mexican in it. Understand? There are some Olmec heads that look strictly African, but some of them look Asian-like and Mexican-like, and even, you know, type of, not all human-like. This one don't look all human to me. It makes you something. So this is evidence all over the world of these giant Olmec heads. Giant Olmec heads. So you can see whoever created this had the concept of giants. It's clear to see that these people had the concept of giant, creating giants, because they also created the structures, these big stone structures in giant size. And we could see they have some type of helmet. So it is said that these people, so if we're looking at, so it is said that this race is extinct, right? And I'm here to tell you, a race could only go extinct if it's engineered into life. No original people will go extinct on the planet Earth. The original man could never go extinct on the Earth because he represents Earth and the fullness thereof. No original people will go extinct. That's why no matter how much millions and millions of black people, the white people try and kill us to extinct us, we will still remain and be the multitude, the majority. You understand? So if this race of Olmecs are extinct, all different type of features of Olmecs, all different types of parts of the earth. So if these Olmecs are extinct, they couldn't be the original people. They could never go extinct if they were original. That is just my point when it comes to Olmecs. Understand? Because I think the Olmecs they were a giant race. Understand? I think they were a giant race. They said they they gotten extinct. They get extinct. Someone take them out. You understand? Yes. So it's clear to see the science. The science is displayed all over Earth. And we just have to come to terms with it. Understand? We just have to come to terms with the science. Newt and Geb. Right? Newt and Geb. A giant man as Geb and a giant woman as the sky. So our ancestors were well aware of the giant concept. There's no running around it. There's no making up stories. You understand? You clearly see what I'm showing. There's no making up stories. No more making up stories. Newt and Geb. A giant man, giant woman. Alright? As you can see, these two god figures right here, they have some type of animal head. They have some type of animal head. Understand? So this could also be literally and metaphysically. You understand? Symbolically. Because the message is I come to realize, after doing studies and studies, you realize one concept means many things. You understand? One concept, it means many things. So you'll have to be there with the priest that actually drew this on the walls for him to explain every single thing and everything, what everything means. All we could do for now is just watch and see what we could notice for ourselves. You understand? Yeah, that it goes for most of the hieroglyphics and the writings. The priest will have to be with you right now, explaining to you what every single thing means, because they are no longer here with us. So all we could do is just look at and just make the best of it, and that's what I'm doing. So that's why I don't need nobody to come explain to me what I'm seeing. You understand? So give thanks for life and give thanks. I know this is Lord Sage, the 7th part. I am here.